Hey guys, what's good? Mike here, Laker Talk. Let's talk Laker basketball. Didn't get a chance to give my thoughts on last night's game. Lakers beating the Memphis Grizzlies to move 5-5 on the year. For what it's worth, Lakers are balling right now. We're on a pace right now to win, 40 games? I know it's early. Last year we were 10-10, but and we fell off. But this year it seems to be something different about our team, and I think this is likely sustainable. Now, if we win 35 to 40 wins, that's 40 games, that's overachieving in my opinion. I think we were all kind of thinking around 32, 33, but we're on a pace to win over 35 plus games, close to 40 games. So let's hope we can keep and sustain this sort of momentum. Big game for the Lakers last night, beating the Memphis Grizzlies. Outside of the Clippers game, we're playing really well. Now, the reason why we're playing well is because of our defense. If you look at our team, like we pointed out, defense is really good. And the reason why our defense is good is because we're long and athletic. Everybody on the starting five, and mostly everybody, I think everybody, even in our second unit, is very active and long and get after it. Now, with our starters, long, athletic, can switch everything. We're playing similar style of like a defense of like the Warriors, right? When the Warriors lock in, they're not locking teams down, but what they do with their ability to switch on everything and being very active, they're making it very difficult for teams to get a shot off or to score the basketball. Where like in prior years, you had some guys easily getting lobs here and there. You had some guys like layup drills and stuff like that. It was easy work for other teams, right? On the offensive end for them. This year, that has changed. Shots are tough. When they do make a shot, it's not an easy shot. It's a highly contested shot. And for the most part, they're not getting multiple rebounds and things like that, or multiple shots on one possession. We're limiting them to one shot. So Lakers defense is stepping up. Also, the fast pace, the pace that we run now on the offensive end, I think shocks a lot of teams. As Mike Conley, I think, stated after yesterday's game, like he was surprised how he was like, you know, we get after it. We're really fast and we're moving athletic and everybody attacks. Now, we got to play at that pace. If we don't play at that pace, now it slows down, and now we're in a disadvantage, I think, because Lonzo Ball doesn't run the point. Now he has to play off the ball, and now we have to do one of two things. You see, when we go to a half-court set, you can see even Kuzma is sort of out of the loop because he's out there. Now he's sitting down in the three-point line, and when he gets the ball, he has to pump fake and try to create on his own. In a more high-paced situation, he gets easy looks and things like that. But at a half-court set, we either got to run the ball through Lopez or run like a pick and pop or pick and roll with Lopez, or post up Brandon Ingram and let him go to work. But it's always better if we just, run, attack, because then now everybody's at an advantage. Even Lonzo's at an advantage if he can just run and keep the pace and get to the rim and either, for the layup or dish it out in that aspect and keep defenses guessing or keep defenses on their toes. So that right there is the recipe of our success right now. But shout out to Brandon Ingram for stepping up big. Kuzma's always been consistent all year long, so I'm not even going to focus on him. But Brook Lopez is putting up numbers right now we haven't seen these type of numbers or this type of level of success from our 5 position since, Brandon Ingram, or I would say Andrew Bynum in his All-Star year, or basically Shaquille O'Neal. So now with the growth of Brandon Ingram, obviously with the fast growth of Kuzma, you see we got some really strong wings. Now, we know we want to go after Paul George, but I think obviously a lot of people right now are thinking the first need right now is to fill that Brook Lopez position. And obviously Boogie Cousins is a free agent come this season. And so I'm sure We haven't heard anything, but I'm sure the Lakers are probably going to go after him. Now, it's got to be quick. It's got to be like, hey, Boogie, do you want this max? If he says no, then we got to look to somebody like Brook Lopez. Barring he can stay healthy, Brook Lopez, with his skill set and with his mentality, with what he can do from the three-point line and with the inside game as well, and with his sort of mentality, I like that idea. I really starting to like that idea as a second option if Boogie Cousins is not available. We all know Boogie Cousins is a headache, you know, and the difference between like Lopez and Boogie, Lopez is not, he's not a part of the culture in the sense that he has to own up to something that people want him to own up to. Boogie, on the other hand, you know, everybody's going to be like, Boogie, you got to, you know, produce and things like that. And it can go wrong if the going gets tough and we lose a few games. Boogie can kind of like, you know, cause a temper tantrum or something like that. So that's the difference between those two. So I would say you got to go after Boogie, but if he doesn't go, then we got to sign Brook Lopez. Or, you know, sign like Brook Lopez to a 3 or 4 year deal. Anyway, so that's at the 5. And then we got to go after Paul George. Now I'm thinking, how are we going to make all that work? Paul George play the 2 or Brandon Ingram play the 2. A lot of folks are saying, regardless, you make it work. You just make it work with that lineup. Paul George, or Lopez, or Lonzo, Paul George, Brandon Ingram, Kuzma, and Boogie. That would be talking about playoffs and beyond real quick. So that's that. But Brook Lopez is in the running, in my opinion, based on his level of play. Also, I've got to point out this. The other part of our success has a lot to do with Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle. After that Clippers game, I think we moved. Lopez was playing like Timofey Mozgov. I was calling him Timofey 2.0, but he stepped up really big. So now he's balling. We move Julius Randle to the bench. And Jordan Clarkson and Julius have been huge for us. Josh Hart also coming in on the defensive end with that second unit. But Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle is as much, they're as responsible for anyone for our success. So I got to give it up to those two, Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle. Shout out to those guys for really taking ownership of that second unit, stepping up and balling when they get on the floor. So I like that, what we have there. When we get Larry Nance Jr. back, we're going to be off and running. Somebody was saying, when Larry Nance Jr. is back, should Kuzma stay in the starter position, starter role? It's not that Kuzma is not a starter material and should be a starter material long term. Obviously, that's inevitable based on his skill set. But I would still probably start Larry Nance Jr. For, you know, 10 games or for a few games or so. Maybe, and see how that works with Kuzma coming off the bench. Or, you know, if it's just that where Kuzma. But if I would put Kuzma on the bench, I would start Larry Nance Jr. like how we were, but I would also play Kuzma starter minutes and have Kuzma finish games. That's how I would do it until maybe like a month or so, and then we get everybody acclimated, and maybe then you start Kuzma full time. But if the argument is like, you know, you're thinking start Kuzma right now, he should be a starter from here on out. I can't argue with that. I wouldn't argue with that because Kuzma's good. He's highly skilled, and he's going to give you a double-double every single night. So, and he's going to run the break. But Larry Nance Jr. and Kuzma, I mean, any one of those guys, they're running. They're off and running. And that's why defenses get back. So Lonzo's going to hit one of them in transition. So outside of that, that was my thoughts on yesterday's game. Lopez, Brandon Ingram, Kuzma was solid. Also, yesterday's game, we could see that Lonzo's still struggling with the shot. You know what? Nowhere else to go but up from here in terms of Lonzo with the shot. He just got to get in the gym and shoot the ball. As we see, Lonzo's when the pace is faster and the pace is, you know, he can run. He has success, you know, beating defenses down. Now when he gets at at a slow pace at a half-court set, that's where trouble sets in. Now, yesterday is no different than any other game. A lot of times when you're up on teams and you try to slow it down, teams go on runs. The NBA is all about runs. And yesterday, Memphis went on a run. We got sloppy. Lonzo had a turnover. He missed some open jump shots. So it looked really bad at the end. But outside of that, we just got to like watch the film and have half-court sets ready for when those situations happen. So a couple of things. One, you know, after Lonzo runs a couple of like pick and pops with Lopez or pick and roll with Lopez, you got to just run the ball through Lopez in the post and let him go to work. Give the ball to Lopez and just everybody back out and let him go to work one-on-one. Or you post up, do the same thing with Brandon Ingram. And let Brandon Ingram post up because he has that mid-range. But essentially when the momentum switches, the game gets slow in a half-court set. That's where in the past we always, you know, needed Kobe to bail us out, because Kobe has that post-up game and he can get us one. You know, he can just dig down and get us one. But I think on our team now, we got Brandon Ingram who can do that. But I would start with Lopez, because Lopez does have really good footwork and he has really good post skills down low. So we just got to remember when it gets tough, we got to run through Lopez, run through the post. That's our safe bet. So I mean, we got all the weapons right now. We just got to keep it going. We go to Boston, Washington, Milwaukee, and then we come back and play Phoenix. So I think based on if we keep the defensive intensity, we keep the pace, we can win two out of 4 of these games. 2 of 4. So if we can go 2-2 on this 4-game road trip, I think that would be a success. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for commenting, liking, subscribing. Game comes Wednesday. As always, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MikeSportsLA. We'll talk soon, guys. Peace.